show.
Right. Hello, there's Sim.
Oh, Simmy.
Hello, sorry I'm late.
All right. YouTube is going up here. And while I'm thinking about it, okay.
Did you hit record? Sorry.
I really did y'all not just hear the notification?
What was funny was I was getting ready to say it. I was like, no, she'll beat my ass if I say it. I was about
I
ready to
got
go,
you.
Sheila, start recording.
All right. So we got Sim fixing her hair on YouTube here. And we're gonna get started with the intro in just a second because it is 8 o'clock. Brand new intro, ready to roll.
Love it.
I'll give you the hair tie right off of my wrist. I'll turn it up if you play Taylor Swift. I'll gas you up when you're acting unhinged. If you're done, if you're pissed, I'll help you burn down a bridge. I'm an always got time for my girls, girl. Wherever you are in the world, girl, I'll be right there when you call me up. If you need to cry or wanna get drunk, I'll be your number one hype girl. I got your back in a fight, girl. Round after round, I'm always down. There ain't no doubt I'm a girl's girl. Yeah, there ain't no doubt I'm a girl's girl. Hey. Woo! Round after round, I'm always down. There ain't no doubt I'm a girl's girl.
Good evening, everybody. This is Tuesday night. You are here with the Hurricane Girls. It's July the 8th. We're getting through the halfway point of this year, and it's so good to be here with all my besties here tonight. We are on youtube.com at Hurricane Girls. We will later be on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and we will also rebroadcast on WHGR, Hurricane Girls Radio Online. But right now we are live. We are here. We are the Daughters of Darkness. We are the Sisters of Rage. We are the Goddesses Curse on Mediocre Men and Nature's Happy Little Accidents. How are y'all doing tonight?
Hanging in there.
I'm
Amazing.
here joined by Hurricane Morgan, all the way out from the great state of Texas.
Where everything is
And
big, honey.
and big and beautiful. And also with us tonight, Hurricane Sim from Illinois. How are you doing?
Good. I'm excited for the show tonight and to see all my besties.
Yes, yes. Hurricane Mary, the salty historian, here with us tonight from the state that looks like this. Yes. And
We got two
how
of
are
them.
you? How are you tonight?
I think I'm feeling more sassy than salty tonight. I'm not
Yes.
going to cry.
Sassy is good. Oh, well, let me just rearrange the music video choices here and
No,
see if I can
no,
get
don't
you
you
to
do it.
cry.
Don't do it. No.
I've been told I have to save I Want to Live for the end so she can preserve her makeup. But the sassy historian tonight, yes, I love it. And special shout out to Hurricane Abby Rosemarin, published author today of The Year of Dating Myself. It is out everywhere. You can download the audiobook on Spotify and Audible. You can purchase it from Amazon, Barnes and Noble. It is out. It is in people's hands, and could not be more excited about it. If you have not got it in your hands, The Year of Dating Myself will change your life. I'm going to go out and say I haven't read it yet, but I've heard all the excerpts here. It's going to change your life. It's going to teach you about how to treat yourself the way you need to be treated, the way you want to be treated. And go out, order The Year of Dating Myself by Abby Rosemarin. Abby, how are you tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. It was a very busy day at work, almost so busy that I was like, oh yeah, and it's also my release day, which just felt very, very fitting. But holy shit, it's been a long journey, and this book is finally out.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Just a shout out to Hurricane Jen, had a family emergency. Our thoughts go out to Hurricane Jen as she is traveling tonight. And we will soon be seeing it's a couple of new hurricanes tonight, hopefully. Hurricane Jay, you may have remembered her from guesting a couple of episodes ago, will be joining us. They're going to try us out for a little bit and see if we rock together. We did great last time. Also, Hurricane Gabrielle will be hopefully joining us later tonight, but should be out there in YouTube land somewhere. Just got to do the mom thing for tonight. So you know how that
It's
we all know
never
how that
ending.
goes. It really is never ending. And just want to start tonight by welcoming our special guest tonight, an amazing Americana singer. I don't like I can't even find a genre for you, honestly. I like it goes between as I think I've described you as a little bit of Tracy Chapman, a little bit of Lauryn Hill, and also a little bit of like old school country. Um so whatever you want to call that, we have an amazing artist. Denitia is with us tonight. And welcome to the show, Denitia.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's so nice to meet you and meet everybody.
I'm so happy to have you here. We've been talking to a lot of artists that I've been seeing coming through the Toledo library. I am from Toledo, unlike the other girls here. Been just sort of looking at the list, and that's how I've discovered a lot of great talent there. And your name happened to pop up recently, and so I was like, oh my gosh! First of all, I'm going to Spotify.
Yeah.
Um, 4 hours later, I'm like, let me email the management and see if we can get you. It literally was like that. I was doing it. I was listening to the music, was vibing with it, and then vibing turned into doing things around the house and just kind of bopping around and everything, and then it just sort of was there in the background and just the way everything went through. But tell us a little bit about yourself. Where do you come from? What's your background here?
Yeah, totally. Well, thanks for listening. That always means a lot to have my music be a part of your world. It's like a trip and an honor. So, I'm originally from Texas. I grew up about an hour east of Houston. We moved between a couple of different refinery towns, Baytown and Dayton, right off of I-10, right outside of Houston. And country music was the first music that I fell in love with, and I fell in love with songwriting early on as a kid. And as a teenager, I started to get into alt rock and R&B and hip hop, and I started playing guitar. Started writing songs a little bit at home and learning how to play guitar and learn how to play music at some of my first stages. I'll say stages in quotes because some of my first time performing or being on stage was at church and at school. I went to a Christian school, so I would help lead the praise and worship in our midweek chapel at school. And that always really stuck with me because music became something that was more than me and more than the individual, and something that was really about bringing people together and transcending everyone. So I went to college in Nashville, made a deal with my mom that I would go to the best school that I could go to, and I just so happened to pick Nashville because I really wanted to be a songwriter. So I did two birds with one stone.
You sound like a
And
Belmont grad.
I actually went to Vandy.
Vandy, okay. I was gonna say,
Yes. Yeah, I studied
yeah,
art history because I was curious about culture and curious about the world. So I
love
learned
it.
about art history, I got a degree, and then after I graduated, I started to kind of get down to the business of figuring out how to be an independent artist and making DIY records, writing with people around town, and just really being in the outside of the country scene and the indie scene in Nashville. Then I moved up to New York. Um, it wasn't on a whim, but it wasn't super planned out either. I was on tour with a bunch of songwriters from Texas, and the last stop was New York City, and I had spent a little time in New York, and I had friends there. And I said to everybody on the tour, I was like, when we get to New York, just leave me there. Just drop me off. I got my guitar, my suitcase. I've got a couple things, and I started my life in New York City, where I'd wanted to live since I was a kid.
That's so rock and roll. I love
It was
that.
wild.
Yes.
It was like there's a specific time in life, I feel like, where a move like that is possible. And so I kind of capitalized on that time. But to make a long story short, I started to, I moved to Brooklyn, and I fell in with a bunch of really progressive, incredible artists that were making blends of jazz, hip hop, electronic, pop, rock. I mean, it was really forward thinking stuff. And I started a band with somebody who was in that community, and I kind of transformed into this R&B and pop singer, and I got to express that side of myself. Then I made a few solo projects where I was experimenting with electronic and dream pop, and really just trying to figure out what I wanted to say and how I wanted to say it. And then in 2020, during the quarantine, I was in Brooklyn, New York, and the world stopped. Life seemed to stop for all of us, and I really felt that profoundly. And I found myself reaching for something that felt like home, something that felt grounded and tangible to me. And I started to re-immerse myself into the traditional country music that I first fell in love with as a kid. And that's when I started writing my first Americana record, Highways. And that journey led me from Brooklyn to upstate New York, and then back here to Nashville, Tennessee, where I sit right now. And I'm really excited about continuing in the country and Americana space and moving forward and expressing my love for that genre through my lens.
I love that. I think maybe we should, there may be some people out there in the audience who don't know or aren't familiar with your music. We've all had a chance to listen to it, but I'd like to give the audience a chance to sample you here. Your newest single is "Back to You," right?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you maybe intro that, and we'll play the video?
Right. So my main collaborator and I, Brad, had always wanted to write a Texas 4 on the floor feeling, and I was writing this record, Sunset Drive, which was really about moving from one chapter of life to the next. And so we put this song together.
Cool. I love the roots of it all there. And this is "Back to You" by our special guest, Denitia.
Spring will take me right on into summer, and the fall will take me right on back to school. I don't know if I can take this old feeling of heartbreak when every season takes me right on back to you. Skinny lane thought that we could come apart so soon. All the space you left within me is rusted, wide and empty. Try to walk away, we can't hide from the truth. And every step just leads me right on back to you.
That is Back to You by our guest, Denitia. I love it. I love it. The steel guitars, just the twang of it all. It just brings me, for me, I was born in West Virginia. I spent a little bit of my childhood there, and it kind of brings me back to those back holler days, that's that's not like 2020s country. That's fucking 1970s, 1980s country. Like, you don't look like you could have been alive back then.
Well, I mean, I feel like, to appreciate music and to appreciate different things, it's like maybe you didn't have to experience it the first time, but
True.
I really love that sound. I love that old country sound.
I love it too. And
Thank you.
Morgan said in the chat, we're taking back country. What do you think, Morgan?
Period. Where my fan at? Where my fan at?
Boots on the ground, baby.
Yes.
Period.
I love it. And so I mean there does seem to be, even just in the video, there's a homespun sort of folksy sound to it all.
Mm.
And thematically, I think the songs like that are very much reminiscent of that era of country music and Americana. But I don't know that the true Americana has ever really changed. What do you think so? Because I think pop country has definitely changed, but real Americana music, I don't know if it's still the same.
Oh, I mean, I guess that's a good question. I think that it is Americana as an umbrella, as a very
Mhm.
general, wide, encompassing genre. I feel like it does have a certain tradition to the sound and to the many sounds that it encompasses. But I've heard some things about it evolve for sure.
Who's on the instruments?
Oh, my producer and co-writer Brad Allen Williams just played it all. He's a really brilliant musician.
But you're pretty diverse yourself, right? You play like the piano and the guitar and the saxophone and
Right.
I mean, you could make a whole album like by yourself and don't need anybody else, Just piece it all together. That's impressive. I mean, playing one instrument enough is crazy, but I mean, you play multiple instruments.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. I played piano more when I was younger, and I really gravitated to the guitar, and that's kind of the instrument that really stuck as my primary instrument outside of voice. But I found that I have made some records. The record that I put out right before Highways, I played most of the instruments myself and produced it. And I've found that taking a step back from some elements has been really helpful, especially because I have some experience playing different instruments. It like gives me a lot more information in terms of like the way I think things sound really good or not. It's like really improved my taste.
I think so. What do you think about the state of modern country music though? Like how do you vibe with it?
Well, I think there's specifically, do you mean like commercial country or the country music that's coming out that's not necessarily on the radio?
Well, those would be two very separate worlds, I would imagine. Like
Yeah.
I more encounter things like artists that I meet through TikTok or through,
Yeah.
you know, through social media. I don't I don't hear things on I don't listen to the radio anymore, and I wonder if a lot of people do.
Mm.
Because when I was growing, I'm a child of the 70s, so when I was growing up, it would be, it would be the radio station as you're driving to, I don't know, see your family somewhere in another state or something like, or you're driving, back and forth to school or to work, you would listen to the radio, but I don't personally, and I don't personally turn on the radio anymore. I don't know about y'all.
Right.
Like,
I
I,
don't. I mean, I think because, you get used to so many dead zones, with the radios. It's like you can only drive so far, and then it's like, okay, I can't pick up any decent stations. So now it's like, I just load up my Spotify and sometimes just go on random stuff and see what comes up and surprises me.
Hmm.
right. And I feel like that's limiting in a way. Because we do tend to get our playlist set and the music that we like, and it's hard for an artist to break through that unless you're have got a wild hair up your ass one day and you're just like, let me see what Spotify DJ says, or let me see what Apple Shuffle, does for me. I find almost all of my new music through social media, or through, maybe I'll see it on a TV program, but that I think would be more commercial. So, like, obviously commercial country is not like it used to be, I think.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think it's like an interesting distinction to make because, there is like a sort of conversation that floats around that like country music isn't country anymore. And I always urge people to look past what's on the very short playlist of some like pop country radio stations because there are some really incredible artists that are modern, that are up and coming, that are making really cool country music. But yeah, I think country is an interesting genre because the radio is still somewhat relevant, and I think it's maybe the last genre where radio still holds some weight.
Right. Now, when I'm in Nashville,
Yeah,
I definitely will listen to the radio because I listen to the
yeah.
Grand Ole Opry radio.
Oh yeah.
Memphis is where my hometown, so definitely when I go back home,
Okay.
I'm listening to the radio stations there. But I'm in Toledo, Ohio. Like,
Yeah.
everything around here is bland. Like,
Mm.
I don't even really know how to describe it. There is no country music
It's not the
scene
hot
here.
spot for music, is what you're saying.
Oh, the hot spot for music here is the gay bar. Like, I mean, I'm just saying, that's where you get to hear all the good tunes. Morgan, what's up?
I do want to say this, listening to country and kind of getting back into it. When I hear a lot of people say country isn't country, honestly, there's our original country, and then there's the commercial success country where you have, of course, the standard sound with the banjo. However, there are a lot of African elements to it.
Mhm.
When I go down to Louisiana and I hear old folk songs like some Jew joint music that has country elements along with jazz and gospel and R&B, smooth jazz, etc., etc. Um, I think the issue is so much as not what is country, but who actually fits the aesthetic of country versus than what it should be. But again, country has gatekeepers. Mhm. They have some
Mhm.
gatekeepers, but I find it interesting those same gatekeepers will use African bass instruments, particularly with the drums and the banjo. However, when it comes to people like K. Michelle, several artists that were on Beyonce's album Shabuzi, it tends to be a problem.
Mhm. I think that's been something I've noticed a lot of, is there's this pushback against Beyonce labeling herself as country, which, I don't know, like I feel like anybody can be country, but there also feels like there's a very, very, very racist undertone to it that says that Black people or people of color cannot be in a certain genre. I
Right.
mean, have you experienced any of that in Nashville?
No. Fortunately, no.
Mm,
Um,
I love that for you. Yeah.
yeah,
good.
it's not really something that I acknowledge it, and I everything you're saying is like happens, but it's
Hmm.
not something that I I guess to put it this way, I choose not to focus on it, and I choose to just focus on the way that I desire to connect with people through my music, and the way that I show up in my performances and on my records is really about connecting with people and not really so much about addressing any kind of like backlash or addressing like reactionary people. And so far, I've found that kind of like focusing on that like frequency has really just brought me a lot of love. And I know that sounds woo woo, but it's like, it's kind of like the way I've chosen to like go through with this is like when I was making highways with my friend Brad, I just kept saying to myself and in my like writing, in my journal writing, like, I'm not thinking, I refuse to think about how people will receive this. And like, this is really for me. Like, I love what I'm doing. And like, this feels like the most like me that I've ever felt. And I feel like I'm evolving in a way that is like towards my purpose. And I feel like people respond to that.
I think so. I think if you're up there having a good time and feeling it, I don't know if people can help but feel it.
Yeah.
You know,
But I
like,
will say, like, I've said this before in other really interesting interviews. Like, people ask me these, like, very complex questions that, like, I will acknowledge that there may be some sort of gatekeeping that is happening with me that I'm not even aware of.
mm,
But again, like, I guess I'm just not focused on it, and I feel really fortunate to have come back to Nashville a couple of years ago and experience like the success and welcoming vibe that I've experienced.
I
You
love it.
know, I would love to see you work with K Michelle, another Black country artist. There was something interesting she did say. She was like, yes, it is there. However, you do have to do some networking with these people and go to some of the spots in Nashville.
Mm-mm.
I cannot think of the spots names, but there she said she worked with a lot of them. They believe in being on time. They're not going to be in the studio hours and hours like maybe R&B and rap artists would be. They don't usually have like a huge entourage of like, we're gonna get in, we're gonna do this, and then we gotta go home. I got a family to get back to. So but yeah, she did say definitely networking is very important, but also frequenting the scenes as well. Like I said, I can't think of them, but they're all definitely in Nashville. But I would love to
Yeah.
see. I would love to see both of y'all collab because she's been wanting to be do country for a while now, and I'm like a another huge K Michelle fan. So I'm waiting for that album to drop because I want to hear Mountaintop. I'm like, release the song, K. Release the song.
Yeah. She's kind of been like, I feel like she's been ramping up to it. It's gonna be really cool when she does it.
Speaking of scenes, you're from Nashville. Ever make it
Yeah.
out to the Lipstick Lounge?
Oh yeah. The
I
Lipstick
love that
Lounge,
place.
man. You know, I
Yes.
have some good friends that like hang out there. One of the things that kind of brought me back down to Nashville was the Black Opry,
Mhm.
which is a collective of black artists in Americana, country, blues, bluegrass, roots music. And it was started by Holly G, who now lives here in Nashville. And I feel like a lot of my time going to Lipstick Lounge is like linking up with my friends in the Black Opry. It's like a really
Really?
cool, chill spot.
It is. I loved it. I almost got a sugar mama there at one point, but
Oh,
yeah, it was a nice
good
for
work.
those of you who don't know or are not in the know, Lipstick Lounge in Nashville is one of the few, I think we have like 20 left in the whole country. A few remaining lesbian owned lesbian bars. Which is very often on Friday nights rated by straight people and crowded out, but it's legendary in Nashville. And I was just curious because I miss that place. Ever since I moved to Ohio, I was like, every time I went through Nashville, lived in Memphis, and every time I went
Oh
through
yeah.
Nashville, I'm like, I'm gotta stop at the Lipstick. and see
Yeah.
what's popping. And the bad thing about that would be that I would usually stay until 2 or 3 in the morning and then have to drive back to Memphis from there. Another 3 hours. So
I know.
it was popping scene though. But it's good to know there's if I ever am back in there, I can network with some music people down there, hopefully. But yeah, it's oh, where should I where oh, you want to get me in Sugar Mama? Well, I would love for you to
Give me
do
one
that,
too.
please.
Me too. Me too.
You know, you
Yes.
know what? You know why not? I will use my pretty face to be like, hey, what's up? How you doing? Flirt with her. I'm like, hey, I'm like, hey, you want to come hang out with us? Like, hey, I'm like, this is my homegirl Sheila, and this is my homegirl Mary. I'm like, me? I'm like, yeah, I'm part of the straight brigade. Sorry, baby.
Not
I'm like,
everybody can
I'm
be perfect.
sorry. I am not perfect.
I said not well,
that's
no,
what
I
she's
wasn't
saying.
talking about you. So everybody can be fabulous and queer like me.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm a little boring, kinda.
Let me ask 6'4" about that real quick.
Hey,
Oh,
hey,
oh.
hey. We are not going to talk about Mr. Beanstalk. I'll chop him down again because he's been talking too much
So you
smack.
gonna chop him down or are you gonna climb him?
Both. But I'll chop him down.
It's a good thing it's a good thing you've got the headphones in now. So back to you, Denisha. Who are your influences? Like I could say who I heard in there, but I'm just curious about you. Like what styles do you like to listen to in your personal life, and how did you incorporated that into your music?
Yeah, totally. I listen to so many different types of music from day to day. I'm like jamming to all kinds of stuff. But going into focusing in on my last record, Sunset Drive to be specific, I was really tapping into my love for the Eagles.
Hmm.
Um, I really got put on to Don Williams not too long ago. Like, I really didn't grow up listening to Don Williams, but Brad put me onto that, and I was like, wow, this is my vibe. Glenn Campbell is a big influence. Um, the 60s, 70s Dolly stuff is a big influence on this last record. Um, the way that artists like Vince Gill and Randy Travis handle their vocals and harmonies was a big influence.
Mm-hmm.
But for Sunset Drive, I really wanted to go in and like bring in some of my indie influences and some of that aesthetic that kind of lives within me and filter what I think of as country songwriting and like country aesthetic through some of that. So the idea was like to mine from some of those influences, but just have pedal steel on everything. Just start with
Ooh,
like
yes.
just like start with the bones of country. It was like acoustic guitar, a good song on top, and pedal steel, and like take it from there. And like a song like "Don't Let Me Go," I feel like represents the kind of like indie influence, like a little bit left. Like I was listening to a lot of Soccer Mommy at the time, who was kind of a modern indie artist. But I mean, in my day to day life, I'm listening to Miles Davis, I'm listening to SZA, I'm listening to Billie Holiday, Joni Mitchell, um, 80s country playlists galore. I've listened to all those playlists that people make on Spotify for 80s country. So it really kind of like runs the gamut.
I I could see you. I could see you doing a fire version of Don Williams' "I Believe in Love."
Oof.
That would be so good.
Have you listened to the lyrics of that? That song is beautiful. Have you listened to the lyrics lately?
Well, we might need to change the lyrics up a little
Yeah.
bit.
The
But
lyrics are
yeah,
a little tripped out
the
at
lyrics are a
times.
little mess, but like
Yeah.
the I
Mm-hmm.
mean the vibe of it
Oh
actually.
man.
Yeah. I think that would be like something that in that vein, I think,
Yeah.
because you're used to hearing the men with the gravelly voices, but your voice is kind of a little bit angelic there.
Mm.
It's got a little country in it, and for sure, but like I don't know if that's the voice I expected to hear coming out of you, you know.
Yeah.
Your voice
So
reminds me a lot of Joan Baez, especially in
Oh.
the earlier years, like who I love and adore. Like she was the second concert I ever went to growing up. And like I was raised on folk music, you know, and so like Gordon Lightfoot and Joan Baez and Judy Collins and all of that. And so like when we opened up and we were listening to Back to You, I was like, that's such to me, like that's what I hear is that vibe. And it's just like, oh, it's so amazing. I don't know how much you listen to her, but that's who I heard in that.
Oh, that's a vibe. I really need to go down that road. It's like I've heard Joan Baez, but I haven't like really gone into the records.
Oh, go to ego. If I've definitely Diamonds and Rust is one of my favorite songs.
Okay, cool.
Diamonds and Rust, check it out.
Okay, I will. I will. Thank
there's a lot of powerful emotions, I think, in your music. Mary was discussing that earlier with me, like listening to one of your songs over and over again until she had to put on makeup because
you.
yeah.
I texted the group and I'm like, how can I be expected to put on makeup? I've been crying all day because I'm going through a transition right now, and that song just reached into my soul and ripped it open. So thank you for that. It's beautiful.
You're ripping souls open today.
Yes, yes.
Yes, that's an accomplishment there. We'll rip the souls apart and then put them back together, I think. Yeah. Where so you're touring, are you? I've seen you're touring. Obviously, you're coming to Toledo, but you're going around several places. I did see you're opening up for one of my favorite bands, and that would
Is
be
that right?
Toad the Wet Sprocket.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. How did that happen? And how are you feeling about that?
You know, my management put that together. Annie, she's fantastic, and she, does some work with Toad. And early on, when she and I were working together, I was like, "Dude, you work with Toad the Wet Sprocket? That's sick." And
Yes.
so, um, Glenn likes the music, and they invited me to come do a couple shows with them in the Northeast, and I'm like super stoked. I feel like teenage me would be like, "Wait, what? That's so cool."
Right. That would be the only thing that would get me to go to Rhode Island, I think. Honestly, I've never had an impulse. I've never had a
Okay.
reason to go to Rhode Island, but to tour with Toad the Wet Sprocket would be one of those reasons that I would do. When I, as everybody's like, when they think of Toad, they think of Walk on the Ocean, their big hit, but I'm always straight to I will not take these things for granted. That
Mm.
song, oh, that song wrecks me every single time I listen to it. I don't know if I can make it through a live show, like hearing that because there's so many memories of people that are lost, so many times that have gone by. And I think that good music does that to you. It gives you the gift of memories. It gives you the I don't know how I want to say it. It brings things up in you that you may not have recognized were there, or you may have pushed down. And I have a feeling that that's something that you try to do in your music.
Yeah,
I
of
think,
the
and
roots.
I think the other girls are remembering some things like that too.
Okay.
Well, I
What's
wanted to
up,
add
Sid?
what you were saying. I think because I think music lends itself to a feeling of safety. I think during
Oh boy.
the time when the world shut down in 2020, there were a handful of artists, great artists, bigger artists that went online a lot, and they opened up and they just had shows, They just, they went on lives and on the Book of Faces and things, and did lives and gave free access. Big, and that was the opportunity to kind of connect in a time where I think so many of us were scared and not really sure what was happening in the world, but we felt safe because we were listening to something familiar, that could take us back. And I think, and So the Wet Sprocket is one that I remember holding those during those times, and that's when I really kind of reconnected with their music that I had listened to a lot when I was younger, like in my 20s, but I listened to them again with kind of a new lens during COVID times when they were doing the shows and stuff, which was great.
And that's cool.
Have you ever met them before, or is this the first time for you?
Oh, this would be the first time. Yeah, I've never been around them, so I'm excited.
I love that. I mean, music has inspired a lot of things. Music inspired Abby's book, for God's sake. Guster. I don't know if you know the band Guster.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
inspired her book.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
and yeah, I I think yeah, Tim, that you've been reminded in the comments that you don't have to say the Book of Faces here on on
I was
when we're
just
not
trying to
on
be cute.
TikTok.
I wasn't trying to self-censor. I was just trying to be cute.
Hurricane Gabby in the comments here said that you remind her of Corinne Bailey Ray and India Ari,
Oh,
Mm.
wow.
which
Fantastic
damn,
compliments. Thank you.
that's a that's a big one there. Yeah.
It's incredible.
But I think I mean you're working hard, right? I mean
Yeah, I'm going for it.
going the best musicians do. I think going to
Mm.
do these shows that are like there was several festivals. I think there was a festival on there, or maybe I'm wrong, but I know the Toledo series is always a free concert for people who come. I'm sure they take care of you, but um I think I love stuff like that because it gets people out where they wouldn't normally be out and introduces them to music that they wouldn't normally have heard. And that's where I get into music is places where people haven't heard things. Where do you play around? Do you like play around Nashville? Do you what clubs do you typically play at, or do you?
Yeah, totally. So yeah, I've been doing quite a bit of touring since Sunset Drive came out in September. And the way that I usually end up playing in Nashville, more often than not, is doing writers' rounds, which
Oh
is
yes.
sort of this. I think it's. I think people do it everywhere, but I think it's like more distinctly prolific here in Nashville,
Mhm.
where songwriters all get up on stage. There'll be anywhere from 3 to 5 singer songwriters on the stage at a time, and you go one at a time doing the songs, and it's a cool way to hear other songwriters. And sometimes I'm on stage with people that are artists, songwriters, and sometimes I'm on stage with people that songwriting is their thing. That's what they do. They write songs for other people. So it's like a really cool celebration of the craft and a way to
Mhm.
just like jump on stage with other people and kind of swap songs, and ends up being like a cool chemistry. But when I do play with my band, which I'll do a few times a year, last year I played more when the record was coming out, and last summer I played CMA Fest, I played Nashville Pride, got to make my debut at the Grand Ole Opry here in Nashville last
Oh,
summer.
hey,
Yeah, which was
look at that.
amazing. Yeah, but there
Mm.
are some really great clubs here, great venues.
Mhm.
Some of them that I really love to play are the Basement on 8th
Mhm.
Avenue South, which was one of the first real venues that I ever played in Nashville. It's run by a guy named Mike Grimes, who affectionately goes by Grimy, because he has a record store called Grimey's, and Grimy was one of the first people to like take a chance on me in town, and it was a cool full circle moment to go back to the Basement in September and do my album release show to a full house when I put out Sunset Drive. So that's one of my favorite venues to play in town.
I love Grimey's records.
Yeah, you
Uh,
know.
yeah. Uh, the big place I used to go in Nashville is McKay's.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody goes out to McKay's because they have all the used records out there,
Oh man.
and cheap too. Like you get the it's like, hi, Morgan's mom. Yeah, we get
I'll tell her. Yeah, Mama, the crew says, "Hey, Morgan's mom." Hey, y'all. They can't hear you because I got.
Oh, we can hear her.
I
Oh, we
can
can hear
hear
her.
her.
We can
Yeah.
Oh
hear her.
yeah, we can hear.
Oh,
You're
y'all
gonna-
can?
Yeah,
Oh
we
yeah,
can
we
hear.
can hear her.
Oh, yeah, they heard you.
Tell her she's got to listen to some Denitia.
This ridiculous. Okay, I'm gonna tell Mama about Denitia. All right, let's
Okay.
get back on program.
Let's get back on task here.
Sorry.
So yeah, no, I used to go out
Sorry
to
about that, everyone.
McKay's and buy LPs for like 10 cents a piece. Like, just get a
Yeah.
record. They might say it's a little scratched, but you know what? If you're just trying to get some music and you want a cheap vinyl, there you go. But yeah, Grimey's fun too. There's always
No.
some
Grimey's is the best. In
there's
terms of
always
like curation
yes.
and like discovery and like a guided discovery, I think Grimey's is the best record store in town. One of the best in the game. I love McKay's for books.
Listen, y'all, none of y'all who have not been to Nashville or Knoxville or Chattanooga,
Mm-hmm.
McKay's is a massive fucking used buy, sell, and trade store in Nashville. The books there's aisles and aisles, and as picture the New York Library and Ghostbusters, like those kind of aisles. Actually, the Toledo Library is a lot like that too. You'll
Oh.
see. Yeah. So
love
yeah,
that.
Mary
That's
and I
awesome.
have spent a long time walking through that library. Yes, take a vacay in Memphis and Nashville. You're not, take me with you, please. I'm tired of Ohio.
We
But
could all make it to a Hurricane Girls vacation. Why not?
I've been saying we need a retreat. Nashville sounds like a great fucking place.
I think you ought to do it.
I
think
think
it sounds like a
so.
great idea.
You can come too.
I'll be here.
Yay.
Well, we're gonna go see her performing there.
Yeah.
You said you played Nashville Pride, so
Yeah.
obviously you are, I guess that makes you part of the community there.
Well, I would say that's not obvious because we have a lot of allies that play our pride, but yes, I am a queer person and a part of our community. That's
I
right.
love it. Yes. Does it now again, I have to ask, has that ever posed any challenge to you in the country music arena? Because it can get small-minded in Nashville.
You know, I think there is something that I probably could articulate a little bit better about how I embody my identity in this music space. And I
Mhm.
think that I feel like I really bring my identity and my voice to the table in ways that are sort of just a part of who I am. It's just who I am. Like, you earlier before we got on the call, you appreciated like the pronouns of, or like sort of the sapphic twist on the Garth Brooks cover that I did of what she's doing
Right.
now. And it's like, I'm just really living my truth and just being honest about who I am. And that's really,
love
that's
that.
what I'm doing. I'm not couching it in anything that feels antagonistic to me or feels like it's eliciting any weird reactions. It's maybe because I'm from the indie space. Maybe it's
Mhm.
because haven't always been, a super like commercial artist, so I haven't really been up against a lot of like corporate opinions or corporate responses. It's kind of like
Mhm.
my music is for my fans, and that's kind of like it's just direct to fan. So I'm trying to articulate a little bit better about that.
No, I get
am
it.
proud of my identity. I'm proud of being black. I'm proud of being queer. I'm proud of being a woman. And I really just don't. I'm not running into anything overt in terms
Right.
of being in opposition to who I am.
Well, we interviewed Flamey Grant not too long
yeah.
ago,
Nice.
who has said in her in her performances that she is a drag queen, she is an
Yeah.
artist, but she's not a drag artist. She's not a drag musician. She's a musician. And so I feel like that's probably kind of what you're trying to express is like it is a part of who you are. It's not all of what you are, but it's going to come through in your art doing that. And JL has entered the chat here. How are you doing, Hurricane J?
Hi.
Hi.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great.
It's
How
so
are
good to
you?
see you.
Hey, girl, hey.
It's so good to see you all. I'm glad I was able to. Sorry for my tardy party.
It's okay. That's what we're here for. We're here for the sisterhood. If you're here, you're here.
Nice.
Yeah. This is why we are here to lift up the voice of women and lift up the voice of femmes and a lot of times that brings us to the music world. A lot of times brings us to other areas of life. I am so thankful that you came across our radar though, because getting to listen to your music, getting to hear this perspective on it. I love your perspective of of how you just make music that it means something to you
Mm.
and therefore it means something to your fans
Mm.
because they identify with it, they vibe with it, they rock with it, and then that just translates into just a goddamn good show where people can be people.
Yeah.
Whether they be male, female, queer, straight, somebody finds something to vibe with, and I love that.
I think that's one of the most beautiful things about art, and I guess music specifically, since that's what we're talking about, is that our stories have so much in common, and you could hear a song or a story from a perspective that could be like diametrically opposed to your own, right? Their identity is the opposite. But I think it really highlights the beauty of how we're all living like in these human archetypes and these like human stories that have so much more in common than they don't. And I think that's like a really cool thing about music, and that's why I just am myself, but I really am focused on letting the music connect with people.
I love that. Well, we're getting close to the top of the hour. We have another hour to go on the show, but I would like to some people have come in and I'd like to introduce them to your music. And so the one I had got here was the one called Getting Over. And can you introduce that one to us a little bit?
Absolutely. I wanted to write a song for the working person, and this song just felt like the anthem for being proud to work hard, but also hoping for an easier tomorrow.
I love that. Well, that being said, this is Getting Over by our guest, Denitia.
I'm getting over from under. Gotta find a way to the top. When you think you're on a roll, this life will do a number. Wonder why it never stops. If this day-to-day throws me one more thing, I think I'm gonna lose my mind. That's why I'm getting over, getting up from under. Gonna leave it all behind. Yesterday I worked for 10 long hours, just trying hard to get my share. Another bill was due and I had to pay, but the money wasn't there. Oh, I went to bed with my eyes all red, and I woke up ragged today. Now it's time to turn around and punch back in. It's enough to make a body say, I'm getting over, getting up from under. Gotta find a way to the top. life will do a number, wonder why it never stops. If this day-to-day throws me one more thing, I think I'm gonna lose my mind. That's why I'm getting over, getting out from under, gonna leave it all behind. Tomorrow's already on my mind, and everything that's hanging over my head. When I turn the key, will the car come on, or the engine light instead? Oh, and if it starts, it's gonna break my heart, cause the traffic on the interstate feels like another job before I get to work. It's enough to make a body say, I'm getting over, getting out from under, gotta find a way to the top. When you think you're on a roll, this life will do a number, wonder why it never stops. If this day-to-day throws me one more thing, I think I'm gonna lose my mind. That's why I'm getting over, getting out from under, gonna leave it all behind. Today I gotta keep my head on straight, cause I don't have time to slow down. Gotta dry my tears and keep my vision clear, so I can get where I'm going now. This day-to-day has got me working nights and putting in overtime. So I'm getting over, getting out from under, gonna leave it all behind. I'm getting over, getting out from under, gotta find a way to the top. When you think you're on a roll, this life will do a number, wonder why it never stops. If this day-to-day throws me one more thing, I think I'm gonna lose my mind. That's why I'm getting over, getting out from under, gonna leave it all behind. I'm getting over, getting out from under, gonna leave it all behind.
Period. Oh my God. I love that song. This is such a universal experience too. It's just trying to get to the next day, getting over, getting out from under. Oh my gosh. Well, y'all, it's a little station ID time. We're here at youtube.com at Hurricane Girls. We are the Hurricane Girls. We are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, WHTR Hurricane Girls Radio, rebroadcast later. But my gosh, the way that that song hits, like it's something else there. And I am just going to check on our YouTube stream because it's looking like the stream is unavailable. What happened? Okay.
It's always something.
Always something.